Speaker, and I'm proud to rise and talk about the potential of hydrogen, but it is incredibly hypocritical of the government to move this motion. Let me repeat that. It's rank hypocrisy of the government to move this motion. And clearly the member for Ryan's a new guy in the place and he's a bit of a bunny and he's been put up to move this motion, not realising the sordid history of the Coalition. The Coalition haven't met a renewable energy technology they haven't wanted to kill. Let me repeat that. They have not met a renewable energy technology they haven't wanted to kill. Right. For example, 60% of the world's solar photovoltaic cells are based on technology developed at the University of New South Wales. But we got 0 jobs out of it because John Howard was opposed to renewable energy. The government had a policy of actually abolishing the renewable energy target, abolishing it. Now they've got the chutzpah to claim all the investment, sorry, I'm corrected by the member for Macnamara, an expert on that matter. Now they've got the chutzpah to claim the jobs and investment dollars from the RET when they wanted to abolish it. Even in the member's remarks about all the investment arena and the CEFC want to put into hydrogen, they're two bodies that they want to abolish. Their election policies was to abolish arena and abolish the CEFC. This is incredible hypocrisy from the government. It is just rank hypocrisy, and the people who are involved in this area, environmental activists, climate scientists, energy specialists, recognise it as such. But I will agree on one thing. There is huge potential for hydrogen in this country, huge potential. The ASL Allen report that the member was referring to before has a high demand scenario that has the potential of a $10 billion a year export industry generating 16,000 jobs. If we can satisfy a decent share of the demand coming out of Japan and South Korea. Japan wants to make the 2020 Tokyo Olympics the hydrogen Olympics, and Korea's made huge advances. For example, by 2035, all trucks and heavy vehicles in South Korea will have to be hydrogen powered. So there is massive potential there. Although the member for Ryan failed to mention in his remarks that our customers, our potential customers, have made it very clear that from 2030 onwards they will only accept clean hydrogen. And that is a challenge. It's also particularly a challenge for those opposite, given their love affair with fossil fuels. So, Madam Deputy Speaker, they must be clean. They must be clean. But the real tragedy here is that the government is moving way too slowly in this area, moving way too slowly. For example, investment in renewable energy is falling off the cliff. When the member opposite graduates from high school, he can look at some figures and realise that renewable energy is falling off a cliff because the RET has been satisfied. The RET has been satisfied and the government has no policy to replace that. They have an energy policy vacuum. They have a vacuum. They're now up to 18 energy policies. They are now up to 18 energy policies in 6 years. And it's no surprise, given the Minister for Energy is too busy hiding from public scrutiny, given his performance with Clover Moore, than actually developing policies on hydrogen or anything else. I'm proud, in contrast, that Labor took to the last election a hydrogen policy valued at $1.14 billion. That was overwhelmingly supported by the energy community, a $1.14 billion hydrogen policy that would have driven a dramatic increase in that industry. And this is one part of Australia becoming a clean energy superpower. Our commitment to 50% renewable energy and our hydrogen policy would have produced 87,000 jobs in the economy. We would have driven strong demand in other parts of the sector. For example, we will export 15.5 million tonnes of coking coal to satisfy our share of the steel that goes into wind farms around the world. Madam Deputy Speaker, we're also the second greatest producer of rare earths in the world. We've got the greatest reserves of iron and titanium, the second greatest of lithium and copper, and the third greatest of silver. We're in a great position to take advantage of the transition to renewable energy that's happening all around the world through exports of our minerals, through manufacturing batteries here, through exporting electricity directly, either through high-voltage underwater DC cables to South Asia and through hydrogen to North Asia. These are all great policy opportunities if only we had a government with a plan. If only we didn't have a government that denied the science of climate change. If only we had a government that hadn't had 18 energy policies in 6 years. 18 energy policies in 6 years. So we need action. This government won't provide it because they're a bunch of fossils.
The member's time